I bought a bag of crunchy chickpeas from the grocery store the other day as a quick snack, and I was really surprised at how expensive they were, and also the aftertaste wasn't that pleasant. So I decided to make my own, and it turns out they're so easy to do in the air fryer. That's what we're gonna do today. Welcome to the Salt and Pepper, where we cook for real life using real food and we keep it real simple. Today we're gonna make air fryer garbanzo beans or chickpeas, so whichever one you call them, they're the same. We're gonna do it right in the Ninja Foodi 6.5 quart using the air crisp function. However, any air fryer will work for this recipe, so no worries there. First thing I wanna do before I go over the preparation of the garbanzo beans is get the air fryer preheated. That's really important when you want to crisp something up. So what I usually do is go on the hottest setting, which for the Ninja Foodi, that's broil. On your air fryer, just take it to the hottest temperature that you can set it on your air fryer. And we're gonna go for 10 minutes, okay? So while that's heating up, let me talk about the preparation of the chickpeas. Yes, you can use canned, but I don't recommend it, okay? If you have a pressure cooker, get the dried chickpeas or garbanzo beans and make them yourself. And it's super easy. I will link to a recipe below. Your pressure cook time is going to be 30 minutes with a full natural release, and you want 1 to 2 cups of water in there. I usually use 2 cups of water to 1 cup of chickpeas. Then you shock them in a bowl of ice water and then drain them. Now, I'm only gonna air fry 1 cup of them today, but you could put in more. You could put in the entire amount, which is probably about 2.5 cups after they've cooked, maybe even a little bit more. But I'm only gonna do 1 cup here today. So after I shock them, then I dry them on paper towels, and I just sort of like wrap up the paper towels and sort of, press down, then let them sit until they're relatively dry. Then I'll put them into a bowl. Now the reason, or one of the reasons I recommend doing the pressure cook instead of using canned garbanzo beans is because you control the texture of the beans. And these were cooked to just, and if you want to compare it to pasta, al dente, okay? They are cooked all the way through, but they are not mushy. They're barely losing their skins on the outside. They're not splitting. Oh my gosh. They are so good. And they're going to be so good in our air fryer garbanzo bean recipe. They're hard to get up though. I guess I could do this. Watch me drop them everywhere. That's it. There we go. A little more efficient that way. Okay, so once we have them into our bowl, we're gonna spritz with some oil. I'm using avocado oil. You could use vegetable oil. You could use olive oil if you wanted. It's perfectly fine. So spritz maybe a teaspoon. Not too much. You don't need that much. And then you choose what seasonings you want, okay? The seasoning blend that I'm using, it's a 1/2 teaspoon of fine grind sea salt, 1/2 teaspoon of cumin, 1/4 teaspoon of onion powder, 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder. Okay, that's it. I'm not even gonna use all of it in the chickpeas. I'm gonna start off with just 1/2 teaspoon and sprinkle it right on over and then give them a toss, because you know what? That looks like that might be enough. You just want them lightly coated. You can always season after the fact too. So I think I'm gonna stop there, see what they taste like. And then if I want to, I can give them a little bit of added seasoning when they come out of the air fryer. Once your air fryer has preheated for the full 10 minutes, go ahead and open the lid or pull out the drawer and dump in the chickpeas. No need to add any more oil or anything like that. That's what you wanna hear, a little bit of that sizzle. Then move them around so they're in a single layer. Now you can absolutely do a few more than I did in here, maybe 1.5 cups at a time. And if you wanted to toss them more frequently, you could even do more. Whoops, we don't want to leave anybody out. There we go. You could even do more at a time if you wanted to toss them more frequently during the air crisp time. All right, so now we're gonna go to air crisp. Now I'm gonna take the temperature down to 375, and hit the start button. It defaults to 20 minutes. It is not going to take 20 minutes to air fry these, but I just leave it alone. I just find it easier to leave it like that. It usually takes about 10 to 12 minutes, and I will definitely toss them around in about 5 to 6 minutes. All right, let's go ahead and take a peek, and they are looking good. And hear them already? Crunching up. Oh my gosh. This is like so exciting to me. I'm gonna take one out right now. But they're not ready, but you know. Gotta sample while you cook. You have to. Oh my God. They are so good. They could probably use a little more seasoning. So there's a couple of things you can do. Yeah, I definitely would say more seasoning. So there's a couple things you can do. That is, you could season them as you're air frying. So if you taste one and you're like, need some more, you can do this. A little bit of spritz on here, which is gonna just help them crunch up even more. So probably maybe half of a teaspoon of oil or so. And then just sprinkle. Some is getting down in the bottom of the pot, so it's not gonna, I didn't use a whole other half of a teaspoon. And then stir them around and go back down. Okay, and put your lid back down and continue air frying. Now, the other way to do it is just finish them up and then bring them out, put them into a bowl, spritz them with a little oil, and sprinkle some more seasoning on them. But I prefer to do it this way because I like to actually put the chickpeas out on a cooling rack instead of putting them into a bowl, because you know they're coming out, they're super hot, they're really crunchy, and if you put them into a bowl they just tend to steam and then they soften up pretty quickly. So by laying them in a single layer on your cooling rack, you can let them cool down and they will stay crunchier longer. All right, let's go ahead and check. Remember I said it would take between 10 and 12 minutes. They look so beautiful. You hear that? Oh my gosh. Who knew it was so easy to make these? I didn't, I'll tell you that. Okay, let me let that cool just a minute. We're done. Oh my gosh, they're so good. They could even use a little bit more seasoning for me. And maybe I'll do that when I serve them. And then pour them out. Now some are gonna drop down, some that are like broken in half during the pressure cook. But for the most part, they'll stay there. So if you have a cooling rack that has big enough, or small enough slots, I should say. If not, then maybe if you have like some sort of a pizza pan, you know, something like that that's got some holes in it, pour them onto the pizza pan and then elevate that. And that'll do the same thing. All right, so we're all done with the air fryer. Now we just let them cool for a bit. Oh my gosh, they're so good. I might let them cool and I might even season them a little bit. Give it a try. See how that works. If you want to add more seasoning after they cool, let's see if it even sticks or anything. You know what I did when I was testing this recipe? I think this is really funny. I made cinnamon sugar ones, okay? Now, were they the best thing in the world? No. Because you still have that earthy taste of the chickpea. So it was kind of strange with the sweet and then the earthiness. But were they horrible? No. And if I wanted a higher protein with just maybe using a sugar substitute or something and a little cinnamon, I wanted something sweet, I would do it again. I would do it again. Oh my gosh, these are so good. You can put any seasoning on them that you like, okay? So anything you want to do, get creative. It's going to be amazing. All right, so let me grab a bowl. I'm going to put these into a bowl. I'm going to season them up a little bit more, and then I'll give them another taste and let you know how the seasoning was when I added it after they cooled down. So I'm pushing some through. All right, let me just put a few in here. And just a little bit more spice. Toss them around. I was just telling Jeff that these remind me of like corn nuts. And he was saying, I bet you could make them honey roasted. You know, like a honey roasted peanut kind of flavor. Because look at how beautiful they are. They look just like a honey roasted peanut if you ask me. All right, here goes. Unbelievable. They are so crunchy. The seasoning is perfect. I almost used all of it though. It does stick after the fact. They were so amazing. Now, storage. What I recommend is letting them cool. You can eat them right now. They're delicious, okay? So if you're gonna eat them right away, don't worry about storage. Just eat them. If you wanna store them for later, let them cool completely, okay? On something that has airflow. Then put them into a plastic bag and get all the air out. And then see how long they'll stay crunchy for, okay? To be honest with you, I haven't kept them around long enough to find out like if they'll be crunchy in 3 days or not. But they were crunchy hours later, as long as you don't leave them at room temperature, because everybody's house has humidity and they will start to absorb that humidity and they will soften up very quickly. If your air fryer chickpeas do soften up, you can throw them back in the air fryer for a few minutes, okay? You don't have to go another 10, just maybe go 2 or 3 minutes, but preheat it first, okay? And then you will dry them up and crunch them up again. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to be disciplined. I'm definitely going to package these up. So in my written post, I can let you know how long they've stayed good in the bag, but I'm gonna eat these.